Hey, what's going on out there, man? Y'all know who it is, man.
Sir.
Dynamic duo, man. We making a habit out of these pop-up shows. Because one thing about Falcon news is always gonna Falcon and it's always gonna break. But Julio Jones, Roddy White, Harry Douglas, y'all know about the Legacy Locker Room podcast and all that good stuff.
Right.
And they dropped episode 2 at noon today. And if you want to get
Good
that
episode.
podcast, man, go to Squad on the Apple products. And it's tough getting in. I'm gonna tell y'all right now because I had a problem myself. Chris will tell you that. And
Yeah.
but yeah, man, episode 2 was lit, man. And we're gonna break down the first part that we saw about Julio Jones in his final year in Atlanta. He broke everything down to a T. And as
Mm-hmm.
Falcon fans, man, a lot of us owe Julio an apology because if you listen
Mm-hmm.
to his points, hey, you will know.
You make good points.
Yeah, he was making excellent points about what
Gotta
was
gotta
going on.
keep it geek. Gotta keep it G. Making good points.
But before we get this thing rolling, man, y'all know how we do it, man. We're gonna shout out to the comment.
Oh
And
yeah.
the chat, and then Chris, you know what to do, man. Introduce yourself. But right quick, man, make you fumble say he here for it. Uh you say he here for it. Kobe Bryant will start. Absolutely agree. Every
Mm.
time I get a notification, I be hoping it's a Kirk trade. Wow, Steve G, you crazy, man. Mario said, now we know what really happened. They did my boy dirty, and I said that in the last show when me and Chris did. And I had an idea what was going on, and I said it in that show. And
Mm.
not be damned,
Indeed.
Julio said it himself.
Yeah,
But
man. We talked about it.
Nobody did Jill dirty, but he became a diva. I don't agree with that.
Yeah. He's basically
I don't.
calling Julio Jill. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, but you know what it is, man. Tell the people what's up, man.
Hey man, rise up, everybody. Come on in. We're gonna talk about the first part of this. And we already know if you've seen the first episode, we already know it ended on a cliffhanger anyway, because we knew what it was going to turn into, which was this conversation in episode 2.
And we actually talked about it on the last show, but
Yeah, we
we're
did.
gonna go a little bit more in depth right quick for y'all, about quick 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, my man. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Chris. He got froze, I think. But yeah, as we look at it, man, we gave y'all a sneak preview of the last show. And look, we gonna break down a little bit of what he talked about in his segment before they got to Roddy White. So that's what we're gonna talk about. The quick Julio segment. It was about 25 minutes. If you watched it, and if you have not, please pause this. Go watch it if you can, and then come back to this and watch this. But Chris, you back? Nope, he's not back yet. So look, um, the Julio Jones trade, man. We all knew about it, and it was tough to watch. And if you looked at what he said throughout that clip of the interview about the trade and how it happened and what happened, you get a better understanding of behind the scene what goes on. And as he said, man, a lot of people really don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but behind the scenes, it can
Right.
get dicey. But Chris, man, as I was saying, man, please tell the
Mhm.
people what's up, and we're gonna talk about it right quick.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it seems like you was already on it, and like I'm saying, like Julio did say, the fans, we don't know exactly everything that's going on behind the scenes. As he even said, everybody thinks that I just up and just said, "Hey, I'm out of here," but I'm under contract. How can I just leave? And which makes all the sense in the world as well too. And then just the whole thing, it's just, man, we're going to get into it. Let's just go ahead and get into it, man. Let's just go
let's
ahead
go
and
get
give the
into it.
people what they
And
want.
I started it off, man. I talked about trade a little bit, and just like you
Right.
said, when he said I'm out of there, we all jumped to conclusion because we didn't know what was
Mhm.
going on behind the scenes. And he said himself, things go on behind the scenes before the fans know, before the media know. The players always know first.
Of course,
So
we know that.
when
Of
when he
course.
made that statement, as I said on the other show, the one we did the other day, it was previous conversation beforehand before he called him.
Hmm.
So when he made that answer, the reason why he said it the way he did, which was he already knew he was going to get traded because he knew long before. I think it was a couple of weeks before that show that
Mhm.
that Shannon Sharp show that he probably knew, and he said it was long before that. And
Yeah,
now that you get to see that him saying that, it makes more and more sense. If you
right.
know something is bound to happen, hey, I mean it is what it is. If you speak out on it, I mean you already gone. What more can it hurt?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you think about it too. I mean, let's shoot. He was like he said, he was already having conversations. It was already a
What's
thing,
up, Simon?
and it started really back with the Dan Quinn thing. Now, as far as now, the thing that I want to touch on is that training staff. What's going on? Because how in the world this man ended up with a third-degree burn on his hamstring because of things that you were doing? And
Yeah,
my
but
thing
but
is,
but that's mainly scar tissue, and that means
right.
it wasn't treated properly.
That
So
that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm trying to
yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, like you have those things going on, and I'm just like you basically like hindering this man, but he's going out there at 60% or less, still, you know what I'm saying, giving the fans what they basically can do, still being a good teammate and everything. And he felt like Dan Quinn was the man for the job. Now, I know we feel as fans that that's totally different. We feel like we reached our ceiling really after the 2017 season. We feel like really we've been going down, down, down after that. We had injury after injury. Players were leaving. It's a lot of things that factor in, but just keeping it about Julio Jones, like he even illustrated everything himself. He had so much equity into the city. The city messed with him, training staff, people, personnel, everybody. Like when Roddy left, Julio became the new Roddy. As far as like the Falcon for life thing, all the goods, the glitz and the
And we're
glamour.
gonna get into that too soon. So
Right, right, right. You see, I'm
look,
alluding to it. So it's
but
just
look,
like, yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, but it's just like, yeah, okay. So Millie Mill said, biggest question is, do you feel better about Jet now knowing his side of the breakup? Well,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the
right,
reason why I say I feel better is because fans get to see what really happened and not just what the media portray. See, that's one
right.
thing about the media. The media can give you one perspective that you
They're gonna give you a
will
narrative.
comment on. It's just like when y'all look at my topics and my headlines on my videos. If my topic say one thing, y'all gonna focus on that. So
Mhm.
when it broke the way it did, y'all just focused on how it happened on live TV and without hearing the whole story. So now you hear the whole story, and now it all comes together, and now it makes sense. So I feel a lot better. But what about you?
Hey, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel good about it. I mean, this is gonna be a topic for discussion anyway, because it's hot, right? I mean, and the
Yeah,
thing
no,
about it is,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, and
My
I'm
bad.
saying the thing about it is like I feel like this is closure for the Atlanta Falcon fans. Like we deserve that, if nothing else. And hearing Julio's side, outside the narratives from the media portrayed and everything like that. At the end of the day, what I'm saying, you do feel better. Ultimately, I still say it was an unfortunate situation that still should have never
Agreed.
happened. I
Agreed.
still feel like there was a way of saying things, doing things, all that. But that's honestly from both sides. It's not just from Julio's side. I mean, our organization, starting from the tip top, they have to be held accountable as well. So it's not
Facts.
just about Julio; it's about AB, as he was saying. And of course TD was gone, and of
But
course Dan Quinn leaving as well. But
absolutely. But how could he leave with disrespect? If somebody disrespect you, are you just gonna show them the utmost respect? I just want to know because, as he said, and as we all know as adults, to to get respect, you got to show respect, you have to earn respect. And
right,
when they did what they did to him without talking to him, without that conversation that he was talking about,
right,
and this surprised me the most. And we're gonna flip to this part of the conversation. Was when Arthur Blank name came up, and
yeah,
we all look at Arthur Blank. Some of us as this guy that just stand up, this guy that just does what's best. And me myself, I've said it myself when it comes to putting his team on the front page, he done that because the Smith
oh yeah,
family didn't do it. They just put a team out there, just prayed for him to win. But Arthur Blank has put this team on Front Street since he bought this team 25 years ago. So when he brought up Arthur Blank's name and not being able to get a conversation, it made me scratch my head. It made me
right,
think, did Arthur Blank just, pretty much. just tell us things just to
bro,
keep us quiet and make us shut
bro,
up because he was the guy that told us. He told us Julio
bro.
is gonna be a Falcon for life, and Julio took that to heart. And when he didn't get that conversation, he found out that was a lie. So that is part of the disrespect that we're talking about right there as a whole.
Right,
So
right.
when you look at how he puts that into perspective, not being able to get a conversation, he talked to his agent. He went through his agent tried to get a conversation going. They gave him two different times, backed out both times. So for the franchise player not to get that kind of respect, um, it just mind boggling to me. You pay a guy $66 million, and at the end of the day, you front to us that he's that dude that's going to be here for life, and then at the end of the day, you don't even want to talk to him and set the record straight about what you're about to do to him. And this is where he went into why he act the way he act when in, and it wasn't nothing against the fan, it wasn't nothing against the city of Atlanta, but if they backdoor him and sweep him under the rug, as so many people say, sweep him under the rug and just move on from him without an explanation. That's just foul, man. It's just foul.
Oh, yeah, man. But that's true, Smitty. But I mean, just going with the whole Arthur Blank thing too. I just gotta be real with it. Dang, hold on. I had my point. Hold on, dang, I don't lost it. Oh no. I mean, I just be trying to keep
Nah,
everything.
you ticking up towards 40, so we know what it is.
No, that definitely ain't what it is. But
Oh man.
but honestly, just going back to the statements said about Arthur from Arthur Blank, I remember, and I'm old enough to remember Arthur Blank saying he's a Hall of Fame player. So I was disappointed he felt that way for whatever reasons. I'm not sure. I was unable to speak with him myself. I tried to, but I felt but he felt the way that he felt and was ready to make a change.
Uh,
And it's just like a lot of that, so that sit down conversation never happened for Julio,
right.
but it did happen for Kirk Cousins. And
Woo,
I'm
boy.
just like,
Hey, boy, don't start nothing.
no, I'm
Don't
not
start
starting
nothing. Won't
anything.
be
I'm
nothing.
just speaking the
I'm
facts.
just
Did it
saying.
did it
You're
happen
right.
or did it
You're
not
right.
happen?
I'm not arguing. You absolutely 200% right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, did it not happen or did it happen or did it not
It
happen? I'm
happened.
just saying, like,
It
all right.
happened.
So I'm just speaking the facts. I'm not calling anybody anything. I'm not trying to allude to anything. All I'm saying is a guy who embodied the Falcons for years could not get a simple conversation because I'm still the same guy that questioned Julio about why he didn't come out and clear his name about the Shannon Sharp thing. Julio be chilling. He even said it in the episode. I be chilling. It's almost really like if you like it, I love it. Let people create whatever narrative they want to, and
Right.
I understand and respect the heck out of that. So really, it kind of answered my question on why he didn't, because it's just like, all right, I'm not getting any communication from the people that drafted me, from the owner that and again, like he said, TD is gone, Thomas Dimitroff, Dan Quinn is gone. There's only one person that could be making all these allegations and all this talking about, oh, we're gonna trade him, oh, he don't practice. Where is all this coming from? It's only one person I can talk to, and that's got to be AB. And I can't talk
Right.
to Arthur Blank, so it makes it look a little shady, like on some maybe that it was coming from Arthur Blank, and maybe he just didn't want to say anything or bring it out about to Julio. You never know. We don't know these people personally, okay? So you never know. And again, I'm not painting a narrative to saying that Arthur is anything but what we know him being, and that is humanitarian, especially for the city of Atlanta. He's brought the Falcons to where we have been, at least to some relevancy. So I'm not taking anything away from him. What I'm saying is, why couldn't the guy that when Julio left, when Roddy left, he became the face of the Falcons? Why couldn't he get a simple sit down conversation? Why did it go back and forth? And it's just like, and of course, Julio could be having his point of view. Maybe things did go different. We don't know, but it just
Right.
seems funny. And it just like I asked Julio, I gotta ask our owner. Why couldn't he just get a simple sit down? But Kirk Cousins did.
But the proof in the pudding, though, man. The reason why he couldn't get a sit down because he had already made his mind up. When you make your mind up, it ain't nothing to talk about. And when there ain't nothing to talk about, hey, you just move on from it. But at the end of the day, this man is probably one of the top 5 players in your
But my
franchise
thing is,
history.
bro, but
Go
hold
ahead,
on.
go ahead, go ahead.
To your point, because you just said something. But my thing is, why can't you just tell me the truth about what's going on if it is like that? If the mind is made up, why can't you just keep it real with me? Because I'm high on big on respect myself. So I
Right.
felt where Julio came from when he just like, I mean, if I can't get it, I said I'm just gonna go my own way about it. He talking to his agent, all that stuff like that. He talking to everybody except for Arthur Blank, and that just sounds just very weird to me.
And
You
and
know,
and then the part about it, man, a lot of people they not thinking about Julio feelings and all this. When you watch the interview, and you go back and watch it. Like I said, we don't want to spoil it. If
mm-hmm,
y'all ain't watch it, put this on pause. Go watch it. Come back and watch this.
mm-hmm.
You got to think about his feeling in this too. When he said, "You talking about me, a guy that's been one of the best players in this team's history, and you go behind my back and try to cut me and trade me without talking to me." That's different. That just like, and it happened to him too, but it happened to Joe Montana with San Francisco. They put Steve Young in, backdoor him. They still won the Super Bowl. But you talk about Roddy. It happened to him too. They wouldn't, with Shanahan, they couldn't get that situation under control. So guess what? They cut ties.
Right.
But
My
this is
man
why
on vacation.
they had this conversation, man. This is why they had that conversation because, like he said, they got to learn to have tough conversations when it
There
comes
you
to key
go.
players.
There you go.
And I can take it back further than that. Deion Sanders put on his Instagram a couple of years ago what really happened between him and the Atlanta Falcons, and people were mad. And this is like just like this situation. People were, just saying out of just what they see on TV about what happened. Oh, Deion didn't want to come back, and Deion he left the Falcons and he betrayed the Falcons.
They
Deion did
didn't
what
know.
was best for Deion at the end of the day because the Smith family told him,
Mm-hmm.
go find you somewhere that you're going to win because at the end of the day,
We can't
it's
pay you.
about winning. It's about winning, and they didn't want to pay him.
Yep.
And if they didn't want to pay him, what else could he do?
The
He goes
man
to
said they
Kansas.
did not offer me a contract.
Right. So what's the difference? It's none. It's about having them tough conversations. They had the tough conversation. They gave him the option to do that, to move on. But with Julio, none of that. They
Right.
made a decision, him and Rich McKay, and I hate that dude with the and I don't like the word hate, but I
It's just
dislike what he's done behind the scenes for the Atlanta Falcons the last 15 years.
because
Yes, he's put together
that's
some
who
good
called
teams.
Roddy White too, by the way, and
Right,
letting him
right,
know that he was cut. You don't
right.
think he
So
had something to do with that as well? Come on now. I mean, we already know that Rich McKay, we've all said it as fans for a long time. He was terrorizing the Falcons behind the scenes on a lot of things, on a
right.
lot of decisions. Some good, most bad. So it's just like, come on now. This is just another thing to where like old wounds are being like opened up. But I'm feeling like this podcast is so good because we're getting closure on a lot of things as Falcon fans. A lot of people, like I ain't gonna lie to you, a lot of things that's being said by these guys are not necessarily a surprise because come on, Falcon fans. We've all went back and forth in our heads, leaning with it, rocking with it, back and forth on how things went. And you can't tell me that none of you guys sitting here watching this podcast didn't have any of these thoughts from what you're hearing off of this podcast from these guys. You
Yeah.
you couldn't prove it, but you thought about it. So it's just like having that closure. This is what we're getting to. Like we've had this conversation about Arthur Blank, Rich McKay, letting Rich McKay pretty much run the Falcons. Arthur, you got to get kind of more hands on. Arthur, you need to step back on this. It's just been
Right.
so much going on. And this podcast is, like I said, it's so good because you're getting the player side of it. Yes, it is a business, but also the personal side of it. Personally, Julio felt like he was smacked in the face.
Yep.
Especially when you have a new guy. Like he said, there was no head coach, there was no GM. So where is these decisions coming from? There's only one guy that's still here. Well, actually, two guys, the owner and Rich McKay. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just
And
saying.
then this is where we get into another part. Then you hire you hire Arthur Blank. I'm sorry, Arthur Smith. Then you get Terry Fontenot. Then now you find your head coach and your GM. And if y'all remember the headlines a couple of years ago about what's the future like for Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, like they were a package. And the reason why they felt like that was because both of them had they were the two top paid players on the team. So I get that part.
They were.
But when Matt Ryan everything is just making sense right now. This is why Julio didn't show up to Matt Ryan's Ring of Honor or retirement or whatever the hell it was. It makes sense because Matt Ryan, being his teammate, should have had his back. He should have had his back. And right quick, make you fumble. Love you, my guy. Love you, my guy. But with the contract, everybody got to be paid what they worth. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. Because Aaron Donald was paid what he was worth. He was one of the best players in the league. Right. And remember, Julio Jones was a top 3 player in the league, not at wide receiver, in the league among all the players. When you talk about top players in the NFL, Julio Jones was number 3 at one point.
Absolutely, brother.
So when they talk about money, you got to pay. You got to pay what you worth.
It's the market. It's
the market. Absolutely.
You know, because again, we talked about that before. Just imagine prime Julio getting paid right now. We're talking about more than what Justin Jefferson gets.
Oh, he'll be at 40 million easily.
That's what I'm saying. Without a doubt. Easy. So
without a doubt, it wouldn't even be a conversation because think about it.
I'm gonna tell you something about a conversation, though. I'm gonna tell you something about a conversation.
Yeah, go ahead and tell about the conversation.
This was something like I wasn't even podcasting yet, but in my mind, I just knew Calvin Ridley did not want to play for Arthur Smith. Just point blank, period. And Roddy alluded to it.
I put it on everything I own. I told everybody that. It didn't have nothing to do with what he was going on. That was his excuse. He didn't want to play for
No. It wasn't an excuse. It was the truth. It was some things going on mentally because I can't mentally wrap my head around what this guy wants to do.
Not only that, you got to think him and Julio were buds too, man. They went to University of Alabama. So they was tied like that.
Bro,
so anything that Julio did, Calvin knew about it. So when Julio found out he was getting traded, Calvin Ridley found out about it. You know, he trying to understand, wrap his mind around it. Because think about it, Julio was training him, and I hate to use that word. He was setting him up to be the next number 1 guy in Atlanta, and all of a sudden he gets traded.
But my thing is, it was supposed to have been a passing of the torch. Remember, Roddy passed it to Julio. Right. And just like they outlined it right there, Julio was supposed to groom and pass it to Calvin. Calvin was not ready for that number 1 spot and all that pressure that Arthur Smith was ready to put him on. If he would have still had his big brother around, he still would have been able to develop, because just like he said, everything that we're doing now, and we've said this too, including the people in the chat, we've said this, we already had things in motion and then it just tore down, and now we're trying to rebuild. Like he said, we got a new receiver, new running back, new tight end, all those things. But we already had a new receiver. We had Calvin Ridley, who definitely was tearing it up. Him and Julio was tearing it up. And even in Julio last season, he still averaged 15 yards a catch.
And you could see the impact that he was having on Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley was the one making the big plays down the field.
And he was balling.
Julio was just doing his part to keep shit together. Let's just keep it real. Because if you think about it, I said it myself. Calvin putting up better numbers than Julio. Julio doing his job as a mentor. That's how I looked at it. And from what Harry Douglas said, Arthur Smith wanted to, he wanted Julio to stay. Because you think about it, you got Calvin Ridley, and you probably don't draft Kyle Pitts. You probably go for Jamar Chase or you go Michael Parsons at that point. So 1,000. that decision alone hurt the Falcons for the next 2-3 years. That would be no Kyle Pitts.
Right.
So you're looking at the result of that now. See, everything has a trickle down effect. One decision leads to another. You look at Roddy's situation, the way he got dealt in Atlanta.
Yep.
We bring in Taylor Gabriel and these other receivers, but Julio is really out there by himself during the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it real. There's no knock that the other players can't play, But you have another veteran receiver in Roddy White and Julio Jones in that Super Bowl, we would not be having this conversation, period.
And Roddy got the phone call on vacation with Julio when he was getting cut. Like, it's a lot of stuff. Like, you just never know who's around. You never know what's the background story and everything as well, man. It's just a series of
Absolutely.
unfortunate events. And again, like you said, like he just like make you fumble. Just said, come on now, Julio and Roddy. Now, I want to make it clear, Julio was not necessarily that Julio Jones we were used to. He was serviceable, like you said. Final year of the Falcons, he had over 700 yards. He still could have been at least a guy to help Calvin transition. And imagine if Calvin could have been a Falcon that entire time. Like, we know he's bounced around now, but he's still a productive receiver. And can you imagine Calvin Ridley, Drake London now, Bijan Robinson? You know, it could have been different. It could have been different. It should have been different. But unfortunately, two sides just don't see eye to eye, just like Julio even said. That if the two sides, and we talked about that even with Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins last year, if the two sides are to have a disconnect and they're not connected, it's just not going to happen. And what's good, Ryan?
Ryan from the Bird Cage, man. Y'all go check him out, man. Big interview coming soon with John Abraham, man. So y'all please, I think it's on June the 12th, if I'm not mistaken. So he's gonna have John Abraham on the Bird Cage. So make sure y'all tune into that, because I know Ryan gonna bring him a question, man. But meet Washington, man. Look, trust me, a lot of at some points, I mean, it's gonna piss you off, because it pissed me off watching it. But as I went over listening to it, everything that's transpired over the last 3 to 4 years, it just started to make sense. And like I said, people were pissed because they say he left with disrespect. But if somebody disrespect you, you mean to tell me you gonna show them respect in return?
Nah,
it's just not gonna happen.
I'm not. That's why I understand like where Julio came from. It's just like, when I listen to him and just the part, even if you don't care about nothing else that he said, just that part where he would talk about the respect part, how what he don't put his body on the line, everything. And I just can't get a simple sit down conversation. I've been the face. I'm embodying the city, the fans fooling with me, you know. And a couple of times, you know, you could tell it was emotional, because when Julio was talking about, oh, they thinking about trade me. If you pay attention, Julio had to catch himself, because he almost said, "These niggas," you know what I'm saying, "You're trying to trade me." It was emotional for him, so it was digging up old stuff for him as well. That wasn't fake, you know. That's how he felt. Like, he loved Atlanta as well, I think, as well. And it just how it all ended.
And I'm gonna tell y'all too, man. I'm gonna apologize on air, because I was wrong, and I see it now. When I see that he signed that $366 million deal that he shouldn't have done it, I digress. They signed him to that contract. He was one of the top receivers still in the NFL at that point. And since $22 million was the going point, because Michael Thomas was making more than him, and we all know Michael Thomas is nowhere near as good as Julio Jones. He gonna do number run slants. He gonna do number run slants at the end of the day. Julio can run every route in the route tree. Just picture that.
And go across the middle and take shots. Because like he said, come across that middle, hey man, open season.
and win contested catches.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
Look at what he did to Luke Kuechly. You talk about it, and we not even getting into the numbers yet. He had what, 12,000 yards 10,000 yards as a Falcon, 10 or 11,000. I got to look it up. Y'all can put it in the chat if y'all know. You look at the numbers he's put up at a Falcon. I know he had 848 catches. I knew that. Right. But when you look at what he did overall, you mean to tell me
14,000 yards?
That's all the respect he gets. Come on, man. Come on, man. Look.
It just like, again, a series of unfortunate events. It started with the Dan Quinn firing for Julio. At least I know most of us, we were happy about it. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like it was just time to get a different voice in the locker room. But again, I respect how Julio feels about Dan Quinn, as he's called him the best coach. And I will, to his credit, yes, Dan Quinn, we've said it here, he's a player's coach. You see what he did in Dallas. You see how he's how they're responding to him.
And Julio talked about that as well.
Right. So it's just like, we understand that. and I respect that. But I feel like it was time to kind of like move on. The
And thank you,
problem
Ryan.
is the way you
Hold on,
moved
Chris.
on.
Hold on, Chris. Thank you, Ryan. This is what I was going to say. We're not even getting into the numbers when we talk about the contract. You talk about a wide receiver that had 3 games over 250 yards, one of those 300 games. Only the next person on the list only had one 300-yard game, one for 250. AB had one for 250,
Yeah,
but
he
Julio
did
did it 3 times.
3
So
times.
that lets you know he was pretty much unstoppable. And if y'all want to take it the way y'all want, if I say this, the reason why he did Matt Ryan the way he did him, Matt Ryan should have had his back, because let's be real about it. Just like Joe Montana and Jerry Rice made Joe Montana who he was. Julio really made Matt Ryan who he was. He's the reason why he's in the Ring of Honor. He's the reason why he's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. So you just got to think it in more ways than one when you looking at it from Julio's perspective.
Personnel, though, dog. Personnel.
Absolutely.
As much as I think about it is, Matt Ryan is the number 1 quarterback for me in Atlanta Falcons history. But at the end of the day, we know that Matt Ryan is also a company guy.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, but let's be real, man. Look,
I'm being real. I am.
I get that, and this is another part of the reason why we lost that Super Bowl. This is why you got to stop thinking like a robot and start thinking like a quarterback. If he just goes to Kyle Shanahan and said, "Man, look, this is what I see on the field. I'm finna run this. I'm gonna audible this, and so we can just shut this game down and win this Super Bowl." But what did he do? He goes in, gets to play comebacks in closet, sees the field as to what's going on, and the rest is history.
Right.
And when Devontae made that 50-yard run, Matt Ryan should have went back to the sideline and said, "Hey, we run it down their throats. They can't stop us. We wear them down. Let's keep doing it." He said that simple sentence. The dynamic of that game changes tremendously. Look. Go ahead.
I'm about to ask you a question. I'm about to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
All right. So around about that time, when it was time to get rid of Matt and or Julio, do you feel like we should have kept Julio and just got rid of Matt?
It's funny you said that, because I told Uncle Steve, I said after that season, after the Super Bowl, we went to the divisional round and we couldn't get past the Eagles with pretty much the same team that we should have won that game. When you got Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, and those guys coming out in that very next draft, should have moved on, because guess what? Right after that, they signed to that 5-year, $130 million deal.
And he was.
Think about that.
Remember that he became the highest paid quarterback at that time.
Right. But now don't get me wrong, he's still to be the best Falcon all time. But at the same time, that was the perfect opportunity for them to go and use, and like we talked about on live previously, use one of those coaches to replace Dan Quinn if you want to. Go out and find a new quarterback, a young guy. We probably go in a new direction, build it in the right way. But Thomas Dimitroff, at the same time, those last couple of years, he was too worried about saving his job and not trying to fix this team.
Not trying to fix the team, though. Yeah, I'm about to say that's what it comes down and boils down to. At the end of the day, man, you look.
I think he froze up again. Damn. StreamYard today, man. I can't look. StreamYard get on my nerves at times.
Sure do. It sure do.
They StreamYard. But go ahead, man. My bad.
Nah, man, it's all good. StreamYard just know we cooking. And then, you know what I'm saying? But to StreamYard's, you know what I'm saying, defense, it did say when I came back into the studio that they are literally actually having problems with StreamYard right now. So I was like,
okay.
That's the first time I've seen that.
It makes sense. So yeah, they should have had that a long time ago.
A long time ago. Thank you for that update, StreamYard. My goodness. But yeah, so that's what's going on. But regardless, though, bro, jumping right back into it.
Country boy, I can't say that, man, because if you a good receiver, you're a good receiver. If you got a quarterback that can get you the ball, that's all you need. Look at Andre Johnson. He had trash quarterbacks. He's still in the Hall of Fame.
Still did it.
Larry Fitzgerald, trash quarterbacks until Kurt Warner came. Still in the Hall of Fame. So I mean, a wide receiver who a wide receiver gonna be no matter who's the quarterback.
I mean, T.O. bounced around, you know.
Right.
He still put up numbers.
Right.
But You think about what Randy Moss, he didn't necessarily, I mean, outside of Tom Brady, you think about his quarterbacks. I mean, he
Right.
still put up good numbers, you know. I mean, I know Dante Culpepper, but I'm not as big as I wasn't big on all that, you know, so like everybody else was. I wasn't. And
That's true.
still,
Fate economics. Inside 20, they was unstoppable. But
yeah,
at the end
bro.
of that, but at the end of the day, that's the offensive coordinator problem, because you got to dial up plays to get that ball in the end zone. Simple as that. When you got a Julio, when you got a Kyle Pitts right now, and when you got a Drake London 6'4", that's on the offensive coordinator, nobody else.
Yeah, man. That it's just again, it's just tough, bro. You really hate it at the end of the day, but I'm happy though. I'm happy that all this is coming out. I'm happy for Falcon fans. You know, players and organizations, they're gonna feel how they feel. I'm happy for my Falcon fans because at the end of the day, this legacy podcast is going to bring closure to a lot. We're going to have a lot of good laughs. You even seen how they were getting on Harry. Man, that story with Roddy and Harry was absolutely hilarious. How about
Boy,
Harry's rookie
when they
season? Harry,
when they were practicing,
the
that was
practicing.
funny.
Harry was
Boy,
mad about the
that was
practice.
funny.
And Julio, Roddy was tearing Harry up
But
his
you got,
rookie
hey,
year. Look,
but
man.
could you be mad
Look,
at him though,
I'm
man? I know
telling,
that Texas heat get over 100 degrees real easy.
bro.
With the humidity, it'd be about 115,
My
120.
man, my
So
man
you, I
Harry a
mean,
trip.
look,
That
I
man
mean,
said,
look,
"Oh, the top two out." He said, "Oh no, I'm finna get up out of this." He said, "I'm finna get up out of this." And then Roddy come over there. Look, man, you go after here. I'm gonna beat you out here right now. That was Roddy White, though. That was
yeah.
Roddy, bro. I absolutely love it. Yes, yes,
But
that's
yeah, man,
exactly what's going to happen.
make sure y'all check out that interview, man. Trust me, y'all gonna love it.
It's worth it, y'all.
But
It's
you
worth it.
know, we can go on and on all day about this. Because look, like I said, behind the scenes, different things happening. As we as fans, sometimes we get to see it on TV in the media, and they paint a certain perspective. So of course you're gonna jump the gun. But now that you heard Julio's, you've heard his explanation about what happened, and the crazy thing about it, this is the last point I'm gonna make, and you can
Yeah,
make another point if you want to. But them pushing Arthur Smith up to push him out the door was some
bro,
bullshit.
bro,
Now, when like I said, this is what made me look at Arthur Blank different in this situation was you push a new head coach up to call Julio Jones, and Julio Jones said he ain't had nothing to do with it. And he had the right to tell
Mm-mm.
him that.
He
Um,
sure damn did,
when you push a new head coach up to push one of your franchise best players out the door, that says a lot about you as a human being. And I know he has that business mentality, so this is probably where it took over. But at the end of the day, be a man, talk to him, and tell him, "Hey, we moving in another direction." And then Julio said to himself, "He had done that. Hey, I'm fine with it. I'm gonna be all right either way." So, yeah. At the end of the day, sometimes
bro.
you got to make those tough choices, but do not put a new head coach in a situation that you created. That's all I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, if you created the situation, you deal with it.
No, that's absolutely true, man. Absolutely true. My thing is like Julio say, like you like Arthur Smith coming in, shoot, even Terry Fontenot. You see, he didn't say anything about Terry, but
Right.
Arthur Smith, you can't come in and ask me, do I want to play for this team? You can't come in and ask me anything because even from afar, y'all seen what I've done. Now all of a sudden I don't practice. Now all of a sudden I don't do this. You're creating the narrative because you know what you're about to do. Like he
Right.
said, him
Right.
and his agent started looking over teams on where he's going to go because it already was done. Like it
Yeah.
already was done. So it's just like, all right, now it's just time to see
And
where we're
and
going.
then by it being done, that's when the Shannon Sharp interview comes in. So
I'm talking about and every domino that fell afterwards.
and
Then
we
all of a
dealing
sudden,
with it
now
to
the
this day
Falcons got to go take a tight end at number 4
to
because they
find a
just
playmaker. Yep.
yeah, because they just had everything going on with their number 1 wide receiver. Now they got to trade him. Now we got
But
to go get. Now I still would have went and got Jamar Chase even with that,
hey,
but
you read my mind. You read my mind because I was
yeah,
gonna say if we going to the number one receiver, why the hell we get a tight end?
That didn't make any sense to me.
Don't get me wrong. I know a tight end can be a quarterback best friend. We talk about that all the time. And
You're
I
right.
think he's going to help Michael Penix this season, however long he's going to be here. But yeah, you don't go get a tight end when you lose a number one receiver. You go get another number one receiver.
Get a number one receiver.
And the crazy thing about it, you talk about receivers. I hate to keep cutting you off. I'm looking at, I think it was the same draft or the draft after. Justin Jefferson on the board to number 20.
Right. I'm talking about it was right on time.
Tell Fontenot to stop calling you, man. We trying to tell it out there.
I'm sorry, man. I can't. Yeah, man. Can't answer. They tell me, man, you gotta cut this live stream. Gotta cut it. Y'all cooking too good right there. Now we gotta keep talking to the people, Terry.
Make you farmer, absolutely. They were looking at the measurables: 6'6", 240, 4.4 speed. That's what they were looking at.
You got to do better than that, though, because my thing is, again, you seen what the type of season that Jamar Chase just came off of. You trying to tell me that Matt Ryan, with one last good year, with the last little bit of his arm, can't get the ball to Jamar Chase? My thing is, shoot, Jamar Chase can run every route too.
And he's only what, about 6'1"?
Yeah, about 6'1". But my thing is, he's a playmaker. Right. At the end of the day, he is a playmaker, and you could have went and did that. Again, that's water on the bridge. That's hindsight. We got KP, and I believe that Michael Penix, give him his opportunity with KP because you gave everybody else an opportunity with him.
Facts.
So go ahead and give Michael Penix his shot, especially if he believes that he can work with him. Now, if Michael Penix was talking different, saying, "No, I don't think so," then of course, do what you gotta do. But
that's a great question. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Again, it's on the offensive coordinator to use him like he's supposed to be used. Because as I told y'all, and I'm gonna stand by it. If they built their offense around Kyle Pitts will be farther along than he is. See, one thing about it, when you're not building the offense around a person, at times he get left out, and that's exactly what happened. He's got left out.
And the offense will never be around Kyle Pitts here in Atlanta. Never.
Nope, not after drafting Bijan. It damn sure won't.
And not after drafting Drake, an actual wide receiver.
Right, absolutely. Now he's really a tight end.
Right.
Certain offensive tight ends, they get left out. You see George Kittle still getting paid, but he's not putting up the numbers he was 3-4 years ago. So it happens. But James Brown, man, hey, we just try to tell it like it is.
That's it.
Ryan said if he underachieves, I don't want to hear a damn thing, and I don't either.
And I don't either.
I agree. Absolutely.
I ain't gonna cap it down. I ain't gonna want to hear nothing at all. I'm just gonna be like, well, that didn't work. So time to move on because I'm gonna try my best not to even hamper on it and talk about it too long if it doesn't work out. So, but
Facts.
Yeah, man.
But again, man. Again, if y'all haven't watched that interview, please go check it out on the Squad app on Apple. It's tough to get in at times, but just keep working with it because I had to work with it a couple of days before I got it.
Right.
But look, it happens. But y'all know how we do it, man. Tell everybody where to find you before we get out of here, man.
Hey, man. Again, this was just part one. We're definitely going to talk about the rest of it, things that happen. Of course, getting to a little bit more about Harry and and Roddy and their story, and then actually talk about Roddy being released because they got into like his greatest moment, of course, which what it was. We'll talk about that as well, but there's some more things going on with that, so we're definitely going to talk about part 2 of it because it's a great podcast. I'm telling you guys, this Legacy Locker Room podcast has been something that Falcon fans all need to enjoy, all need to see. Get some closure, find out some stories, because of course they always say it's it's 3 sides to every story. It's his story, their story, and the truth. So we're gonna get it, y'all. We're gonna get it and enjoy it. We're gonna be back here, to recap with you guys. Of course, part 2 of it, because I think we watched about 30 minutes of it, and we're gonna watch the rest of it and then talk about that as well too. So be on the lookout for that.
But yeah, man, y'all please go to the Hot Digest and follow Chris page on fire, man, right now. Please follow me on Smitty Sports Machine as I keep putting up videos. Y'all please keep subscribing and continue to drop those comments. No matter if they're positive, negative, I don't care. because at the end of the day, I'm gonna still do what I'm gonna do at the end of the day. But
That's
also catch me on the NFC South Roundtable every Tuesday during the season. So we'll probably get back into that in August, and trust me, we're gonna bring the pain on that show, like we all. And as we keep doing these pop ups, man, and news keeps dropping. Stay charged up, Smitty Sports Machine and A1 forever, because we're gonna continue to bring y'all the great content. Shout out to Berto and Kev doing their thing, man. Bringing y'all
facts.
content 95 North, Sports 95 North Falcons Talk Show, and the Dirty Bird Central.
Right. Facts, man.
So please go check out those podcasts and those shows as well, because they give great content as well. Our boy Ryan, who's in the chat, go to the Birdcage LLC as well. Check him out. Great content. Check him out early in the morning, man. He be on early in the morning doing bumper to bumper. He has great topics in the morning. So while he riding in traffic, he give y'all his thoughts. And one thing about Ryan, he just like me. He just tells it like it is, and honestly, don't care how you feel about it. But hey, it is. But training camp coming soon. Me and Chris A1, we working on it. What day we're going to show up. So when we show up,
They
we want
gotta
y'all to
drop it.
show up and show out. Yeah, once they drop their
They gotta
schedule,
drop
we'll
these
come up with
dates.
a date. Yeah, we'll come up with a date, and we'll figure it out from there. But for my boy Chris, everybody in the chat, thank y'all for stopping through. We appreciate it, and then we'll holler at y'all soon, man. Peace.
Be back in the meme.